everyone. This is Terry Hudson, and I'm in the rBeatz.com radio and media streaming network. And I'm so excited about my guest today, and I'm just so impressed with all that she's accomplished. And she has accomplished everything that I've seen without a manager or a label. And so I'm going to make the topic of this program today, making your own way. Welcome, Arsena Todd.
Thank you. Thank you, Terry. I love that topic, making your own way.
Well, you've done it.
It resonates.
Yeah. The most recent thing that I saw you do, I got invited to this project release, a CD release that you were doing, and you had it at this amazing club, Middle C Jazz Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And when I came there, you know, I go to a lot of CD release parties, and I did not see at any of those the level of performance that I saw at yours.
Oh, wow.
You're an amazing performer. You understood the moments that needed to be created in a program. You were not just up there doing a song list. You were doing moments. You know, you pulled people in. Each song was not only sounded different, it looked different. And how was that experience for you?
Thank you. Well, Middle C Jazz, I was really excited to play that stage. It's a great venue, and I know it's newer, but it's amazing, and it's accomplished so much. My parents love going there, so they were like really excited. You're going to be at our favorite place. But I really wanted the experience to be an experience. We worked on the album, making sure it went, you know, cohesive from the top to the bottom. You felt the journey of an evolution because it's called Metamorphosis, the evolution of Arsena. So we wanted to make sure the concert felt like a chance for people to evolve too. It's not just about me and my story. I always hope that my art inspires people to go out and, you know, apply it to their lives however they see fit.
No,
so
it was very inspirational.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And you know, with the song topics you were talking about, it being an evolution, we'll cover that later. But they were songs about your journey. And I understand, like, this month is your 12 years. It's the anniversary of your 12 years in music. So tell us about the journey. How did all this even start?
Yeah, so 12 years as a full-time musician since I originally dropped out of grad school to pursue music. And I was originally going to go to school for school counseling, grad school, a master's in that. I had a scholarship at the time, and that's just one of the areas they would pay for. But after orientation, I felt like, I don't want to do this. I looked around at everyone. Everyone was really excited about it. And I just did not feel that way about that program.
That's how you know you're calling, yeah.
Yeah, I just looked around. I'm like, does everyone want to do this for the next 3 years? You know? And so I walked out that day. I did not let them know, sorry, school, and just went on to pursuing music full time. So I plunged immediately into crowdfunding to raise funds, you know, to back my...
You plunged immediately.
Which I do not recommend.
Most people are scared of when
don't
they're
do that.
new artists.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
I do not recommend it because you do need to have an online presence. You need to have a following. I had no track record, no experience. I barely had experience playing and writing songs. But people did believe in me, and they backed me enough to record a 4-song project that I then started DIY touring. So setting up my own regional tours on the East Coast and just playing out those songs. And back then I would burn CDs, like 25 CDs before each show, and then handcraft and color the artwork, you know, to make it a custom item. And so that's what I did when I started. And now
that's something that you got back then. Like, it's always been, even though it's the modern music industry, you know, or some people say the new music industry, even though the technology has changed,
right,
the concepts have always been the same, which is taking care of your customer, making them feel special. And you were already doing that. I don't know if you just saw that in other products or just something you just came up with, but you were personalizing, you know, already.
Yeah, there was this woman I worked. One of the first things I did when I decided to do music was work as a front desk receptionist at a music school. And there was a lady there that just dropped that token, that nugget to me of like, make it personal. Because I was mailing out all the products people ordered through the campaign, and she thought, oh, you know, go the extra mile for the envelopes and for all these things. So now, you know, with my projects, people say, oh, we love the packaging and, you know, how personal it is and the personal note. But that lady gave me that nugget back then to just make sure you pour into each person. As the orders grow, it gets harder and harder, but I try to keep that practice in there just because I'm, you know, a self-employed entrepreneur.
Right. Well, you evidently got a hold of the crowdfunding thing because you've done pretty well with it, you know, as of late. So just that process, when you're talking about making your own way, just that process, how did that evolve?
Which part? Which part
Well,
do you
you said
mean?
when you first got in it, you don't recommend just jumping in it. You had no
Yeah.
online presence. So how did you build that to get to that point where crowdfunding did work for you?
Yeah, back then there was an artist, and she's still out, named Joy Ike, that I really admired. I don't know where she's based now. She was in my hometown, Pittsburgh, at the time. I think she's relocated since, but she had a company called Grassrootsy, and I would follow, and she would mention like have a mailing list at every show, collect emails. So I made sure to do that and email everyone, once a month. And I really just started by myself figuring it out, dropping off my business cards at coffee shops on the boards, the connection boards, putting up flyers, every show going out and guerrilla style promoting my shows. So yeah, it's been small and I've been building over time, but it's really just been making sure I collect as much information about people interested in my music as possible so I can let them know when I'm making more music.
Right. And you have built a great email list, for instance. I mean, you have a sizable email list for somebody that's doing it independently. And I talk to artists about this all the time because they need to understand that social media, which every music conference, everything you go to, all they seem to preach is social media. And social media is great. I mean, that's how you're connecting.
However,
but you're renting your list when you're just doing it on social media.
They
you
shut
only
it down,
own that
you're
list.
out of it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, anybody remembers MySpace or really, things that were hot at one time, like Periscope even, or whatever it is.
I forgot about Periscope.
There's so many that you could say, and they go away, and your list goes away, and you're rebuilding. But if you have that email list, and when you're sending out emails, they're seeing your name actually in there. But you took the time to build a good sizable list, and you're one of the few artists, even in this entire region, that I've seen do that. And I'm pretty impressed with that.
Thank you.
So, your songs. I mean, I watch your videos all the time, and your
Thank you.
Your show was amazing, and I've seen you out and about a few times now. But your songs are well crafted. Are you co-writing, or are you doing this stuff yourself?
It's a little bit of both. I start out with most songs on guitar or piano, and I sing and write, and I normally just freestyle. I just sing what I'm feeling. A lot of my music is introspective. It's about healing. It's about growth. It's about just learning the lessons life is teaching you so you can become who you're supposed to be, reach your full potential. And then after I get that song, I do like to pass it on to my producer. I've been working a lot with Kurt Keys, who is a great songwriter and Stellar Award-winning artist. And then he puts that extra oomph on it, to give it that next level of musicianship. Because I started, songwriting and as a musician when I was 19, which sounds young, but at the time, the other 19-year-olds had been playing, 15 years. So at that time, I'm 3 months in, strumming my little chords. So it was helpful. It has been helpful to have a producer with that ear, that someone that just loves to geek out and play an instrument for 12 hours a day. That's not me. I really use music as a tool to express myself, and I have a message and a vision. But I really enjoy the business too, So the songwriting, it is a whole process before it actually gets, recorded and out to people.
Well, how would you describe your style?
Musically?
Yes.
I would say it's a little bit of R&B, a little bit of pop. There's inspirational elements. So we can go with alternative R&B for today.
Well, who influenced you? I've heard some of your names that you throw out here, but tell us who influenced you just to go that way.
I think, I never really consciously realized this, but my mother growing up, she was leading worship when I was in high school, and she always had a song even before worship. She was the person who I have a song I would like to sing. So I think I never realized how much that influenced me. When I became interested in being a songwriter, I was really inspired by Lauryn Hill's Unplugged EP. It was just her and her guitar and her being very vulnerable about her life and her story. And I thought, okay, if that's what it is, I can do that because I loved the authenticity and how she approached it. And it was just very vulnerable, and so that's how I approach my music.
In all the marketing stuff that you do is based around the core of you are truly an amazing artist.
Oh.
You have these just astounding vocal roles that you do with your song. You have the authenticity, the genuine way that you come across, in your lyrics. And when you get up there, you're not just singing into a mic. You're actually, full on performance. And you would be that whether you're just the acoustic act there or whether you had the live band.
Right.
And so you have worked to become, the true artist. And for people that are serious in getting into this, you have to have a likability factor, and you have to be genuine, and you have to be really good. Did you have a process that got you to that level of talent?
No, I think, and I still have it to this day, it's just my teachability. Like, I enjoy learning, so I've never stopped learning. I'm in school now learning more, and I've always found ways to teach myself and educate myself, and really approach this industry as a student. So I think that's what kind of helps and keeps me humble and authentic, because I don't know everything.
And you are humble and authentic, but you are fearless. And that's something to me that's inspiring to younger artists, is that you are that. And you weren't afraid to just jump into certain things. And there's this expression that basically says, many are called, but few are chosen. And of course, it comes from the Bible. You just tell me about your mother in gospel singing or leading praise and worship. But in that basically means a lot of people are talented and gifted, but few actually listen and take action, accept that invitation and go out and do the things. And that's how you end up getting somewhere, is actually the action you take. And that takes fearlessness. It takes overcoming the criticism and the embarrassment and everything that gets and that's involved in getting on a stage or, putting out new music. It's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
But even a step above that with you is your lyrics tell about your
all my
vulnerability,
business,
especially on this latest album. So let's talk about a couple of songs. What are some of your favorite songs from the album?
I love them all. They're all my babies. I love them all. We started off with or Without You as the first single, and that's when we announced the crowdfund campaign. I've funded every full-length album since that first EP through crowdfunding. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot to finance an album. So we launched with or Without You as the first single, and to invite people to pre-order and help support and back. So I think that song is, it means so much to me, but it's just really being transparent about my divorce, to be honest. So I think it was coming out the gate. Yeah, it's it's a little messy. That, just
knowing your situation.
Yeah.
Which the quality of your videos.
Thank you.
And we'll go over that in a minute. But your latest single, tell me about that as well.
Do You. So we released that.
Speaking of social.
Yeah, it is all about social media. I
fearlessness.
have this love-hate relationship with social media. I really enjoy it when I use it and it's not using me. But, I've had issues in the years of singing and comparing what everyone else has going on, or why was I left out of that? Or, there's all these things about social media that create this whole other online world of needing to keep up with the Joneses. And so I wrote Do You just to remind myself, just do you, do your own thing, and then you'll find your spot. Instead of begging to get a table at someone else's table, build your own. Right. And that's kind of what I've done with my own company, Dear Soul Music
Made
Co.
your own way.
Made my own way. Yeah. You see how you did that there? But that's what Do You is. It's just talking about not following what you think you're expected to do. And this is something you talked about, being fearless. It's something that maybe it appears I do very easily, but I have to remind myself, go for what you want to do, not what others want you to do.
Nobody does that easily.
It's not easy.
Those are the people that overcome. What is it John Wayne said is courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway, I think was the saying that I heard. That helped me a lot because I went through an anxiety period as well. Too. And it was just, it's not about being inspired all the time. You need those moments. They're icing on the cake. Right. But it's just doing it regardless. Right. Just getting up every day and going and doing it. 5 steps, whatever it is, but walking towards it. And 12 years seems like a long time, but I mean, when you look back at it, that person did the heavy lifting for who you are now. Right. And you're doing amazing things. So do you have people that come up, especially with this new album, Can we even say album anymore? You know, here I am, Mr. Music Industry guy, and I'm still using the
I
word
like album. I'm probably old school, but I like album.
I still love vinyl, and you know, I still love CDs. But of course, you know, streaming has been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But with the stories and the songs that you have you heard any audience members that have come up to you and said how this? I figured you had.
Oh yeah.
Any things?
Yeah. Well, I specifically with or without you. When I wrote it, I was going through a divorce, but also I was very like transparent about it. And so a lot of women who had either been divorced or were going through a divorce had reached out. So my mind switched to, okay, now I need to write a song that's like an anthem for women to realize we're going to be fine. Because so much of our identity as women can sometimes be attached to a man, and it needs to be, you know, if we're attached to a man, then we feel great. And so, a lot of women reached out, which kind of pushed me to write this in a sense, because I wanted to make sure they knew, like, we got this, y'all. We're going to be good. We're going to get through this. And so, that helps me. And when I write, I'm always writing thinking of that person in mind that I want to inspire.
How did that make you feel really inside? I mean, the emotion that gives you from doing that, knowing that you actually went through these things, not just for yourself,
right?
But you went through these things.
Yeah.
Because you were going to reach others. Honestly,
it feels great because it takes off the pressure to be perfect. You're like, oh, okay, I can actually relate to people because I've been through something. I feel like, my project with the evolution, a lot of my music in the past, while it was authentic and it came from me, there still was a level of, oh, I can only say certain things. So you'll see with or without you, there's the F word, but we still mute it out. But there's there was a censorship, I guess, in the past that I realize now as people reach out, people have gone through what you've probably gone through. You think I'm the only one, or talk about it,
And they stay isolated.
Yeah, and why?
And you're able to pull them out of that isolation because there's somebody visible that I'm seeing in videos or whatever it is, hearing on the radio, and all of a sudden, hey, that's my story.
Yeah.
And people remember that forever.
Exactly. So, it takes the pressure off. Talk about what you're going through.
It's a soundtrack of life, like we always say. And something else that I noticed at your product table, speaking of that kind of thing, at your CD release party, is that you were taking time, no matter how long the line is, you were taking time with each person. And you treated them, I don't know if you had known all these people or, you were just meeting them for the first time, but everybody felt like they knew you. And while you may see so many people, I've dealt with these artists, they do these tours all over the place and they can't remember everybody that comes through, but that person always remembers the artist.
Yeah.
And they always remember that interaction. And when I saw that with you, I thought, oh, that's going to take her some places.
It gives you energy to keep going and to get that feedback. I like that connection.
Speaking of your story, how did you come up with your album title, your project title?
I came up with the title, project. Yes, I came up with the title well before we even recorded the songs. I actually told my producer, Kurt, and it was pre-pandemic, that I wanted to do an EP version of Evolution of Arsena Metamorphosis, and I told him I have to evolve first. I said I felt life was changing. I had I got a grant with the Arts and Science Council, a fellowship, and so I went out to Prague and I was writing new songs, and I re-recorded them.
You went out to where?
Prague.
Prague where?
Czech Republic.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah, yeah. And we recorded the songs here, but I took this whole sabbatical because of the grant, and I told him, I said I need to evolve, but I want to work on this. I don't know why I said that, which sounds crazy. In hindsight, I did a huge metamorphosis. My life looks very different than then. But we started off with trying to do a live album and recording that through some virtual concerts. It was great, but not really what we were looking for. So then we went into the studio and it became a full album instead of an EP. But I just felt like I was changing around 2018, 2019. I started to feel like, I don't know if it was being at the end of my 20s or what, but I just wanted more out of life, and I felt like I needed to make some big changes.
Well, you seem to have made some really big changes, and each project that you do is just to build the audience for the next project.
Yeah.
So all this journey that led to this project, it's really as incredible as it is, and the time and effort and tears and heartache and laughter and everything that led you this far,
Right.
is just so this one can draw new fans that you can lead into the next project.
Yeah.
So have you even, are you just right now concentrating on the live part?
No, I did start a new project.
I figured you probably
do know
had,
me
but-
well. Yeah, well, I've been saying for many years, talking about evolution, every Christmas, I say, oh, I should have done a Christmas project. But you have to start Christmas projects
way early.
well before, so we're working on the Christmas project now.
Like
so
a lot
hopefully
of people
this
don't realize
Christmas,
that.
yeah.
You're like sitting in a summer heat. You know,
Yeah,
getting
right
to the
now, every
studio
day
just
I'm
to-
like, Christmas,
Yeah.
all in at the pool.
So are you doing a combination of covers with your originals, or
I
are
would
you
like
doing
to.
that?
I haven't decided yet. I've just started with the original pieces first, but I've been doing my own rendition of The Little Drummer Boy in this Christmas for years, so it is something I'm thinking about including just because, we
That's
do
the
our
first
own
time I
spin.
ever saw you was at a Christmas event.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, an amazing Christmas event. Somebody took me to that, and I just, well, it was karma.
Yeah.
that took me to that.
Yeah.
But I had never been, and once I went, I was like, I am going to this every year for the rest of my life. That they have this event because it was such a variety, and yeah, I mean, your time on stage there was amazing. But when I saw it, I didn't realize the R&B artist that you were, and had rock elements and everything, these vocal roles again that you do. When you hear her songs, you'll know what I'm talking about. She has great vocal roles.
Thank you.
that she does, and she says she hasn't developed one. She said it just was kind of in her, but that's
I'm just, keep creating and learning as I go, But I think that background in gospel and R&B, you got to have some runs, vocal runs. You got to.
Well, I tell people that if the best singers I've heard have seemed to start off in church, because the people don't tell you suck immediately. Everybody encourages, oh, bless your heart. That's sing it for the Lord, or whatever they used to say when I was growing up. But it's an encouragement, and when you grow in an environment of encouragement, it helps you get over some of the fear.
Right.
So when you do face that industry, it does not encourage.
Yeah, which is so crazy because I didn't start singing in church, and I've taken a break from that, so I'm not doing that now. But I didn't start until after I became an artist. When I was a little girl, I dreamed of being this worship leader, and it just never happened. I never got a chance to lead worship. Isn't that crazy? And which it really made me just not want to do music at all, and that's why I didn't really officially start till 19, because I didn't really see a lot of opportunities to do that younger when I wanted to. So it's kind of interesting how it comes back around full circle.
Well, yeah, it shows, and this project is just incredible, and of course they can find it on all streaming platforms, and they can get it from your site. But it's been such an amazing pleasure, and I'm always excited anytime I talk to you, whether it's on the phone or at Panera, I think.
Yeah, we were
I
at
seem to meet a
Panera.
lot of artists at Panera. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Terry.
And I wish you the best. And of course, I'll show up at anything where I'm around that you're around.
Christmas and outside of Christmas. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time here at rBeatz.